Hi, I'm Valeriosa and this channel is Cooking with Injuries. I thought in the early days I would just do a little bit of a video to share what this channel is all about, what my heart is, and what some of my injuries are. Obviously, as time goes on, this channel may morph and change. For example, I can already see coming down the road that ingredients are going to be going up through the roof, so potentially I might try and add a component of budget cooking, because we all know that the purse strings are going to get a little bit tighter. But for now, this is all about me sharing some tips and tricks that I've learned from being injured. This last week I clicked over the 11-year anniversary to when I redid my prolapse disc. So what happened is, on a particular day, I decided at lunchtime during work to go to the gym. In this gym class, they were doing a side bridge exercise, and a side bridge is, think of a push-up, but the plank where you stay still onto the side. So, and that's all on the ground. As I went into the side bridge exercise, I felt my back, my disc pop. Basically, sorry for anyone with a weak stomach, but basically it felt like a pimple popping, a very large one, because it's almost what it was. So what that means is the back, you have all the bone, which is the vertebrae. In between the vertebrae are the discs. The discs have a rubbery, the outside is like a rubbery consistency, so that's so you can actually bend, move, and enjoy life. Inside that rubbery disc is a fluid, and that's there to protect, I believe, I'm not medical, but I believe that's there to protect your spinal cord, there to actually help you move as well. So what happened is I broke the side of the disc, and the fluid that's on the inside comes out, and then it pinches on what's called the sciatica nerve. So the sciatica nerve is the main nerve that runs down the back, and that's the one that goes down into the legs so that you have feeling into the legs. So with the fluid pushing on the sciatica nerve, that means there's pins and needles. For me, it was a pins and needles sensation going all the way down the leg, and anybody who's had sciatica pain knows it's a very, very unique pain. So once I'd done it, I knew what was going on. Then from there, the type of injury I did required me to sort of rest, not lift things that were too heavy, and just be sensible. I was not sensible for the period of time afterwards, and I just did not stop enough. The reasons for that are, different. After the injury, I actually just did not stop enough. My body required more rest than I was giving it. So because I didn't stop enough, the body has a way for me, as I say, I'm not medical, this is just my personal experience. The body then flares up the next thing to compensate, because the back was weakened, so it's pulling on another muscle to compensate. And by doing that, I ended up flaring up a whole lot of injuries. Like at one stage, we had the inflamed rotator cuff, a tennis elbow, carpal tunnel. So at one stage, it was full pins and needles from head to toe, the entire left-hand side. And then at different times, I have also just, fallen over, been a little bit of a klutz. That's where I did like a patella tendonitis, which is the tendon in the knee. It runs underneath the knee, I believe. I just inflamed it. So because of all these pile of injuries, I also triggered fibromyalgia, where that's a inflammation condition where the body just does not settle. It does not yeah, once it's inflamed, it takes a while to settle down. And then also once it settles down a little bit, you can have what we refer to as flare-ups at any point in time. And obviously if you've got flare-ups or pain in all different locations, like, you know, when I had the carpal tunnel, the idea of actually cutting with a knife, couldn't do it. With the lower back injury, standing for a long period of time, couldn't do it. So there was all these different things. And then I would watch all different cooking channels, and then I'll be particular, like, you know, when making a stir fry, oh, it has to be with a fry pan. And in all my research, it took a lot of work, absolutely a lot of work, to find recipes that were easy, that I could adjust and that I could cook, accommodating my injuries. Basically, I had to relearn how to cook because I was brought up in a generation where marketing basically had an appliance for every single thing. You want to make donuts? Oh, you need the donut appliance. You want to make hot dogs? You need the hot dog appliance. You want to slow cook something? Oh, you need a slow cooker. And it just got to the point that I'd have so many appliances in the cupboard, but they were hard. It was hard to keep them clean afterwards. It was hard to pull them all out because to get to them you'd be... So, yeah. And just got to the point that I had so many appliances in the cupboard, and it was hard to pull them out because you'd be getting one thing over the other. And I just sat there and I thought about it, and I'm like, in my grandmother's day, they didn't have this. My grandmother lived through the Great Depression. So occasionally stories would come out about how they would adjust and use different vegetables to get different outcomes. So I was thinking about that and going, how? How is that done? We're so used to now having to use a particular appliance to cook something. How did they do that? And that is where my concept that cooking equals time plus heat equals cooking. It's as simple as that. If the item that you're cooking, if the temperature it is cooked at is lower than the temperature that that item gets to, your thing will cook. And why I guess when you look at all these professional chefs, maybe I didn't cook it in the right thing. Like maybe I should have used a wok for a stir fry. Sorry, I can't. It's actually a physical limitation. Or maybe at different times I'd have friends coming over and making something small, and they would have food allergies. So all of a sudden I'd be like, okay, they've got a dairy allergy. So dairy intolerance means that they're, I believe, allergic to the protein in the milk. So lactose is allergic to the sugar, which is where you can take lactase, as dairy is allergic to the protein. So anything that says that it's lactose-free milk, somebody with a dairy intolerance still can't take it. Not a doctor, so don't quote me on that, but that's what my friends who have had the intolerances have advised me. So I'd look at the ingredients and I'd be like, okay, this has milk in it. What is the purpose of the milk in this recipe? It's like, okay, maybe the milk is there to thicken it up, give that bit more of a flavour. And going, okay, what milk substitutes do we have that we can replace it? And once I started thinking that way, once I started thinking that way of how can I substitute, all of a sudden it got a lot easier, and all of a sudden the number of utensils I needed in the kitchen reduce significantly. It got to the point that, oh, I always wanted a Dutch oven. So they're the really heavy pots. But when I was at the height of the injury, I couldn't handle the weight of the pot, so I'd have other pots instead. But now that I can handle the weight of the Dutch oven pot, I've literally got to the stage where I've said to some friends, if I was to lose the entire kitchen and I had to replace it, I could probably replace it with just a handful of utensils now, because they're so diverse. We don't have to buy into the lie that we need all these different utensils. Yeah, they're there and they sell because they do make our lives easier. But I found that once with an injury, once I had like 20 appliances, it made it harder to pull them all out. So that's what this channel is about. It's just sharing my journey, sharing some recipes that I've developed, adapted, customized to be able to cook with. So I really hope that you get something out of it. I hope that it helps you think of different ways that you can adjust it, because I know I searched high and low for this information because it just, I couldn't find it when I wanted it. So hopefully this channel is here for me sharing some 10+ years of knowledge. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.